Hello, hello. I greet you all from wherever you're listening in and watching me. Lillian again. I'm back here to talk about what happens after obtaining your study permit. Well, I left off at a point where we were waiting for a response from IRCC after submission of the application for a study permit. On my end, like I put to you, we waited for 4 months and the approval answer was received. This answer was received by email. This email came through. Very enchanted with the email. I just checked my GCK account one day. Of course, they give you an indicative time when an answer should have reached you. So when the time passed, I was waiting for an answer by 2nd August. That answer didn't come through. I didn't get an approval or denial answer. But we kept positive. We didn't write to IRCC asking them why the answer hadn't come, but we kept on tracking. And on tracking, we had submitted my application in May, but they kept on showing that they were processing applications received by a certain date, end of March and beginning of April. So we knew that my application hadn't been touched for that period. So we waited, and for MBA in the Canadian system, for whichever course you're going or at whatever level, giving you an admission in class does not mean that you have a seat in that particular class for the period that you are admitted in. Yeah, that shocked me because in my country, Uganda, when you're admitted in a school and you've paid a deposit, or for us we pay school fees when the school term is opening or when it's open. So here you deposit on your tuition way before, even before you get the study permit. It is a prerequisite for you to really show that you're committed to going to this school. Otherwise, they would give out that place to anyone else. So they usually keep people on the waiting list. So these people fill up places that have been given to students that are unable to come in. And there you will process your tuition deposited at the school with them. You go through the process of requesting for a refund. That is something else that I won't go through now, but we can discuss it at a later stage. So fast forward, since I hadn't got an answer by 2nd August, it was set as the date that I should have registered for classes. I said the Canadian system here, you have to register for classes. You can be admitted by the university. However, you have to book a seat in that class or in the different classes that you're meant to attend for that semester. I was meant to start in the fall, that is September 2021. But since my answer from IRCC came after the set date for me to have registered for classes, I wasn't registered to start in that period. So that meant that I had to defer to the winter semester. While I had my answer 8 days later, it did not help the situation. I informed the school But when they have set deadlines for certain things, in Canada, the system, each university has their way of operation. But Thompson Rivers University, when they've set a certain deadline for something, that is it. So I had two chances or two options, either to defer to another semester or to pull out. But then I weighed both options, and obviously, after waiting for all that long, deferring to winter starting 4 months later was not a challenge. So I wrote to the school informing them of the reason as to why I was unable to register for classes in time as per the said deadline, and I requested that I be deferred and accepted to register for the winter class. So I was accepted and given another letter of acceptance from the school showing that my study period will start in January 2022 to November 2023. So that letter is key, because when you get to obtain your study permit, which you obtain from the customs office in Canada, they have to capture the period when you're starting school and when you should have completed your studies. That is very important, and it is captured on your letter of acceptance from school, your admission letter. They have had to accept you in a class that is starting on a certain date and ending on a certain period. So when your study permit is given to you, it has to speak of the same. There has to be, these two have to be correlated. Yeah, so I had to get that done. If you have more questions about any of which I have covered my previous submissions, you can feel free to ask questions as we carry on in the comment section. I will read through and get to you. Where you need a deep understanding of something, it is better you book a consultation. I will leave my contact information for you to write emails and maybe contact me on WhatsApp with questions that require deeper explanation, which I cannot give here. So with that email from IRCC, speaking of my approval for a study permit in Canada, I was requested to submit my passport to IRCC for visa stamping. So in Uganda, passports are taken to a visa office where they're stamped with a visa. So I submitted mine and I waited for 2 weeks when I was called to receive it. So at the end of August, I received my passport with a visa in it, and there I was sure I had a temporary status for me to be in Canada for my studies as an international student. Started preparation for my journey, and yeah, the university usually carries out orientation or webinars or different they bring on different people to advise on how you prepare yourself for Canada, how you book accommodation, how you prepare for the weather, the dressing, what to expect. They will cover different aspects, how you're supposed to answer questions at customs, because even there, that is another step. You have the visa to get you from your country to Canada, but it doesn't mean that with the visa you automatically have the study permit, even if IRCC approved your application. You still at the border have to convince the immigration officer, because they usually ask questions. Depending on what they ask you, you must be able to answer these questions. If they ask you for any support documents that were submitted during your application for this study permit, you must be able to submit them. It is like a check. These people are trained to look at you, see you, and ask you questions that are befitting of what you want to achieve from them. So it's not very hard, but then you don't have to handle that part carelessly, because they have the right at that point to deny your study permit. And no one comes all the way from their country to be denied a study permit at customs, because this is where you get it from. You cannot receive it in your country. All you get is a visa. So what should you do? How should you be ready to face the immigration officer? What is required? What do you have to say? What don't you have to say? How easy is it to go through customs at the border of entry through Canada? That is what I'm going to handle in my next video. Thank you for being here, for listening to me. In case of any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. I will be glad to answer you, to take you through all this. I'm Lillian, and I'm happy to share with you my story. Until we meet again, God bless you.